Alrighty, welcome back to the Final Fantasy VII Enemy Trivia Challenge. Happy New Year. We're here on the 2nd, 2026. Boys, crazy. Absolutely crazy. I do have a fun statistic for you. So this year, we're going to change the way we do charity stuff on the stream. We've always done 10% of all bits and donations go towards charity. That's something we've done on the channel for the past 8 years. Since 2018, we started it in January. We're going to change the way we do it from here on because for a couple of reasons. For one, bits and donations just work different on Twitch now than they did 8 years ago. I also want to focus on like actual events that are dedicated towards charity because I think it'll be less confusing for people just to have like an actual amount that we're giving to charity rather than it be small bonuses plus the 10%. So some change, just some couple different reasons that we're doing it. But I was looking back on the last 8 years that we've done both the 10% bits and donations to charity and all of the dedicated charity events we've done over the years. We've done like a bunch of Hollow Months have had charity bonuses. Meme Weeks have had charity bonuses. We've done like special events like our 100-month celebration and stuff that some of the money went to charity. And I tallied up all of the money we've given to charity so far since we started in 2018. And the grand total, believe it or not, is $25,371.17 over the past 8 years. How incredible is that, man? Isn't that crazy? It really does add up. It's crazy. Like, just we've never had a GDQ level huge charity drive or anything. It's always just been small here, small there, but just being consistent over 8 years. Like, how cool is that? So thought I'd share that with you guys because that's really awesome. And I wanted to do it during this because there's been plenty of people that have come over from YouTube and given donations. Somebody just yesterday, actually. If I can find them in my thingy here. Sometimes this thing's weird and doesn't show. Travis came over yesterday from YouTube and just dropped 1,000 bits saying thank you for the enemy trivia. And that goes towards it. So yeah, for anyone that's supported over the years, that have jumped over to YouTube or have been on Twitch this whole time, you've been a part of that. So, but yeah, I have some cool plans for this year. I want to change the way we do that stuff, and I also want to take some of that money and dedicate it towards doing more giveaways for you guys as well. Give back to our community more. So. But either way, it's good stuff. And also, that's not, one charity. That we've done so many. Part of the idea behind doing the 10% thing was that I wanted to support a bunch of different charities. I didn't want to just stick with one because, I don't know. I mean, I always vet my charities very well, but you never know. I mean, something comes out in 10 years about a charity blowing money or something, and we've supported that charity for 8 years, and now we look like we're wasting money, right? So, I try to pick my charities very carefully, but I wanted to spread the love to a lot of different charities. So, I mean, we're talking Doctors Without Borders, we're talking St. Jude's, we're talking Prevent Cancer Foundation, we're talking a bunch of different animal charities. I even picked some, like, local animal charities as well. The list goes on. I mean, we had, like, probably 20 plus different charities that we supported over the years. So that's really cool as well. So, anyways, back to Final Fantasy VII. Today is a special day. Or shall I say, now is a special time. Because we are heading towards quite possibly the 2 rarest enemies in the game. I know I said before that the Bagrisk was probably the rarest enemy in the game. But upon further inspection, I think these guys might be even more rare. And given some of the comments that have been kind of hyping up these enemies, I think they might be right. I think these enemies might be the rarest in the game because they don't even show up in the battle arena. I think one of them does, but the other one does not. So, yeah. I'm excited to see what you guys think of these 2 enemies here. And we already did all the other Whirlwind Maze stuff, right? Should just be these 2 left. But first we got to take care of Jenova. All right. I missed the timing I usually go for, and then I was like, well, I'll give it a shot. It did not pan out. What zone we talking? What do you mean? This zone we're in right now. Whirlwind Maze. Yeah, we talked about Windwing. The danger zone. We're talking about the highway to the danger. Oh no, we got the glitch. Alright, we're good. You see how the green thing goes like 3/4 of the way across the screen and then just disappears? That happens on the PC version if you get a fight on the screen and it makes the timing harder. Okay, does someone have the fire ring? You have the fire armlet. Give you the fire ring, I guess. Actually, give you the fire ring. Perfectly ported game. Anything else I want to level up? Not really. You have long range, yeah. Yes, that is the reason. They did a collaboration for an ad, and then because of that, they had weird... I don't even know if they ever had rights, or if they just... Because they made the ad, they decided they can claim stuff. It's either they actually did get some rights to that scene in particular, which I doubt, or it's just like every other stupid ad thing, or YouTube copyright thing, where somebody makes something, and then somebody makes a copy of that something, and then starts grabbing people as if it was their original thing. Which happens an insane, like, incredibly often. I still get claims on my videos from, like, people that made rap songs over Final Fantasy beats, and then say they own Final Fantasy. It's insane. It's actually insane. Alright. Jenova Death. Oh, I gotta bring up Ultima, because everything's pausing when I click off. I'll fix that later. Let's see. Jenova Death. Let me make sure. I didn't screw anything up here. Okay, I think we're good. All right, so Genova Death takes a much longer time to run out of MP than Genova Life. But just as Life uses only water attacks, Death uses only fire attacks, so a fire ring or a fire armlet makes the fight free. Genova Death's 2 attacks, Red Light and Tropic Wind, actually have multiple elements. Red Light also counts as shoot, and Tropic Wind also counts as wind. But because of the way elements work in Final Fantasy VII, as long as you absorb part of it, you absorb the whole thing. And then also Genova Death can cast Silence. And that's pretty much all there is to say about this fight. It's unfortunately kind of a lame fight. Which is a shame. I've always thought it's kind of a shame because this is kind of the big moment where we finally fight Genova Roth. And kind of the moment where Genova Roth dies. I've talked before about how I think this is the moment where like Genova falls, Genova and all the Black Cloak guys all fall into the life stream and then become Genova Synthesis. But this is the moment where we actually get to fight the guy that we've been chasing this whole time. Which also is kind of a shame because there's silence, by the way. We use it on the one person not using magic. It's a shame that this Genova looks the same as the other two. Because the other two were pieces of Genova Roth that were like falling off of him and then mutating into this. But this is like the real deal and yet still looks the same. So that's kind of a shame. And then on top of that, it's really just the same gimmick of using these multi-hit attacks and full party attacks. Tropic Wind is basically just Aqua Lung again. I do like how you fight this same Genova thing over and over again, but with different elements. I think it's a cool way to teach the player, like, to protect against elements, but so this one should have been more epic, because this is the actual real deal fighting Genova Roth. And there needed to be, like, a little scene afterwards, I think, where Genova Roth actually, like, died, but instead she's just gone. When this, like, the fight ends, she's just gone. It would have been cool to have like a scene where that Sephiroth kind of dies. But I guess it wouldn't have made sense because right after that, we still have the scene where Genova's, or Sephiroth's like still here, but I don't think it's the same one. That Sephiroth is like just in Cloud's mind. It's not the actual physical Genova running around. But maybe it would have been confusing to people playing the game for the first time. Also, Red 13's damage is just absolutely disgusting. I was gonna say, this fight actually is usually really long, because she has so much health. It kind of does, in one way, it is a really epic battle just because of how long it is, but Red 13 just obliterated her anyways. I don't think he missed, he might have missed like one death blow that whole fight. Also, I think most people either have the fire armlet equipped or a fire ring equipped for that fight. Especially the fire armlet, because it's really good. There's no reason not to have it equipped. But if you don't equip fire protection in that fight, it is pretty tough. I've had several challenge runs have some issues against that fight. It is deceptively mean. Is this going to be one of them? Nope. Good, I want to fix the fix the game before we get into the fights. Alright, let me save. And then do this real quick. Just so the game doesn't pause when I click away. There we go. Okay. So, let's talk about these two enemies. There are two enemies on this screen that I think are probably the rarest enemies in the game. And the reason they're so rare is that you have to fight them only on this screen. And usually, you just run past the screen. There's no reason to stay on this screen. But only on this screen can you fight these two enemies. One of which I believe shows in the battle arena. One of which doesn't even show in the battle arena. So this is the only place you can fight them. And from the comments I've seen, I'm very curious to see how many people have even ever seen these enemies. I'm kind of hoping we get them in order of rarity, but we'll see what happens. Nope, we got the rarest one first. So, me in the chat, if you've never seen this enemy. Type me in the chat if you have never seen this enemy. This is Kilbin. He only appears on this screen. And he is very strange. Almost feels like a debug enemy or something. Very, very odd enemy. So, this guy was supposed to show in the reunion area, the area after this. But never got, that room never got encounters turned on. So, a lot of people have heard about the Tonberry. That's also supposed to appear in this area. The story goes, the Tonberry was supposed to appear pretty much all throughout the Whirlwind Maze, but then they decided, let's just put them in the area with Sephiroth. But then later they decided there's not going to be any fights in the area with Sephiroth, because just the cutscene happens there, and then you get kicked out. And there's even a field in the game where you can walk around in that area. So at one point, that area was going to be an area that you walked around and did something in, but then later they decided to do the cutscene differently. We talked about it during our last playthrough, I think, where we had a theory that you were supposed to leave Sephiroth's like memory thing and walk all the way to that room and then like interact with Sephiroth, but instead it just plops you in there when Sephiroth does the whole like trickery with whoever you gave the black materia to. So, long story short, Tonberry was supposed to be in that room, and then they ended up removing encounters from that room, so now you can only fight the Tonberry in the battle arena. These guys were also supposed to show up in that room, but once the encounters got turned off in that room, now he only shows up in this one little spot right after Genova Death. The idea behind this enemy is similar to the Two-Faced enemy, where it flips around and each of its sides does different things. But unlike the Two-Faced enemy, the sides aren't actually accurate. So even though this guy is a cube, he doesn't have 1 in 6 chance of landing on each one. There's actually a bunch of different factors as to where they land. And you can see a nice little grid of all of his sides here. But it depends on like how much HP he has, how much MP he has, to determine what move he uses. The orange side is called Orange Swords in the code, and it's just a physical attack. The blue syringe side uses Aspil and drains MP. The red face side uses Fire 2. The ice blue side casts Ice 2. The yellow clock side casts Slow, and the pink heart casts Cure 2. This guy could have been a perfect mine source farm instead of the horrible serpent farm, but he's gone after Whirlwind Maze, which is right before you get W item. Or not right before, but before you get W item. So if we could somehow get back to Whirlwind Maze with the W item materia, this guy would actually be a duplicatable mine source farm. But because we can't do that, you instead have to get them from the serpent, which is a terrible enemy to farm. And the original Japanese name of this enemy seems to reference the words Rubik's in cube. So I think they were going for like a Rubik's Cube style with his name. But the English version just called him Kilbin instead, which your guess is as good as mine. Kilbin sounds like something in like coding language. You know what I mean? And given that he kind of looks like a debug enemy, and he has that kind of see-through texture, and his name is Kilbin, it really does give this guy the vibe of a enemy left over in the code that you're not actually supposed to be fighting. Let's see him do some moves. So they do like a roll. It looks like, you know, you have a 1 in 6 chance of getting any of the sides, but that's not at all how it works. He just has regular AI like anyone else, any other enemy. But it's a cool animation. I also like how it doesn't do it and then have like a... You know how like the Jokers kind of have the whole animation to pick the card, and then it does a whole animation for the attack. He just kind of does it instantly. Also, I don't remember... Okay, there you go. That answers my question. I was trying to remember if they heal you or themselves. The two-faced enemy, it's either they blow up on you or they heal you. But here, the healing is just another one of their attacks they do to... Like, you don't get a positive effect from them. Their death animation is weird, too. They become, like, more solid when they die, instead of the other way around. Yeah. Very, very strange enemy. And like I said, probably the rarest enemy in the game. Before I said that, the Bagrisk was the rarest. I think it's a toss-up. Because the Bagrisk, you have to go out of your way to fight. But at the same time, they also show up in the battle arena. This guy only shows up here, but you could theoretically fight them on accident on your way through this room. But it's not very likely. But if you play the game enough, if you play through the game enough times, you're going to eventually accidentally see that guy. Whereas the Bagrisk, you could play the game 100 times and never see him. If you never go that way. And here is the other enemy. So I'm kind of curious on this one. Me in the chat if you've never seen this enemy. This is the Dragon Rider. He shows up in the battle arena after the High Wind. So that's why I think this guy is a little less rare. Because a lot of people do the battle arena after the High Wind. So you may have seen him in the battle arena. But in terms of fighting him here, I don't know if I've ever fought this guy here. Maybe once or twice ever. But he only shows up on this screen, just like the Kilbin. And he's only a 14 out of 64 chance to show up. So he's kind of rare. He has a move called Headhunter and a move called Headhunter 2. He gets more chance to use 2 instead of 1 with lower HP, and 2 does a really high amount of damage. And this is also another weird flying enemy to have a water immunity. I'm not sure what it is, but there are many flying enemies in this game that have water immunity, and this guy is another one. But yeah, I like his gimmick of having Headhunter 1 and Headhunter 2. Kind of like the spells. Oh my god, he does so much damage. He's crazy. Just like spells, he like upgrades his attack. But yeah, this guy's kind of a jerk. Probably one of the hardest regular enemies. He just seems a bit overtuned for some reason. See if I can get him to use Headhunter too. This is 1,000 damage. Oh, he died. Let's fight another one. I wanna see him use headhunting too. Well, let me heal first. Need some MP. Do I have a tent? Yeah, it's weird. It's weird pulling up Ultima and looking at the formations, because any enemy you type in has multiple formations in the game. Even bosses have, like, removed ones. You bring up this guy, it's just this one formation. Yeah, that dual attack animation is cool, how the dragon bites you and then he swings his scythe at you. Or whatever the heck that thing... What even is that thing? It's like a scythe, but with the smallest blade ever. It's like a spear scythe. Okay, how... Yes, the Tonberry formation exists in the game. You just can't get it because there's no fights in the area where he's at. But, like, it's there. If you were to cheat the game and get in there without the cutscene loading, you would be able to fight him. Actually, no, you'd have to turn on encounters, because encounters are actually turned off in that room. So you'd have to, like, turn encounters back on. But yeah, it's there. It's there, you just can't get it. Alright, he should use it now. He's pretty low. There it is. Yeah, 1,200 damage with that attack. Way more than Genova Death did with any of her attacks. Alright, well. We are now good till we get to Junon. Which shouldn't take too long. And we have a pretty funny enemy to look at during the Barret escape. Is that a cloud Amogus? Oh, sorry, it's a Zach Amogus, of course. I can't see it that well on my screen. Oh, I see the hair now. I have it in dark mode, so like the hair, I can't see the hair. It's black on black. I think there's a conversation somewhere where Cloud says, like, the real Sephiroth is in the North Crater. I don't know if he explicitly says we've been chasing Jenova the whole time, but it's implied, I think. It is Jenova's dead body being controlled by Sephiroth in the North Crater. It breaks out of containment in the Shinra Mansion and turns into the likeness of Sephiroth. So it's literally Jenova's body without her head. Alexa, play Master of Puppets. And then it's kind of up to interpretation whether or not the real Sephiroth is being controlled of his own will, or if Jenova's controlling him as well. But I think, given all of this context, if Jenova was truly just controlling Sephiroth this whole time, I don't think she would care this much about Cloud to do all this. But Sephiroth has a vendetta against Cloud, so he does all this. Yeah. That we know for sure. I don't remember where it's explained, but it's the Sephiroth. Sephiroth travels the life stream, ends up in the North Crater, and then becomes so powerful that he can control Jenova's body parts from around the world. So he takes control of her main body in Shinra and has her break out. And then that body goes around and frees all the other Jenova parts, which is why she frees Cloud from the prison. It's not random. Like, you're supposed to believe that Jenova broke out and killed the guard, and then the door just kind of opened. And like, you know, like typical video game logic, the guard gets killed and the door ends up open and all the prisoners get out, but for some reason the prisoners didn't get killed. But Jenova specifically opened up that door to free Cloud because she wanted Cloud to come to the reunion. Which is why only his door is open and the other two aren't. Nah, she just lets them all, just like the Black Cloak guys, she just lets them all meander their way up here. She doesn't personally take any of them. In fact, Sephiroth kills like 3 of them for some reason. He like kills multiple of them. It's just having fun, I guess. I don't know. He's just crazy. So yeah, this is the room I was talking about. This room has the Tonberry fight in it. But somewhere in development, they decided to have this cutscene be here, and Cloud just kind of appears in this room instead of running to it. And then this cutscene goes crazy, and everyone has to run away, and there's never actually a moment where you walk around in this room. But originally you were going to walk around in here and there was going to be encounters. And Kilbin was going to be in here and Tonberry was going to be in here. And in the code it's called like Reunion Room or something. That's a good question. We could check. I don't think so. But it'd be easy to check because the encounter's still in the code, I think. Which weapons are frozen behind the material wall? All of them. I don't know which one this is. I always thought it was Diamond. How's it going, Zycros? Yeah, I always thought this one was Diamond. I don't know why. Your guess is as good as mine. It's not Emerald or Ruby, I'll tell you that. Maybe it's Sapphire. There he is. The main man. The guy from the cafe. Trebek. Let's see. Let's pay attention to the eyeball. See if we can get a read on which one it is. He's got green eye. Kind of looks cat-like. Not that one. They got yellow eyes. So not Sapphire. Was that Sapphire? Not Diamond. He's got white eyes. Not Ultima. He's got red eyes. Alright, it's none of them. None of them. It's another weapon that we never get to see. I think Sapphire Weapon got an official name somewhere, but never in this game. Never in the original. But somewhere it did. Somewhere in the compilation they call it Sapphire. Is there anything in the code calling it Sapphire? There might be. Probably not, though. My guess is it would have been like the Ultimania book or something. Calling it Sapphire for the first time. What else could it be? Opal? Opal weapon? Might be in the player's guide? It's a good question. Does the player's guide call him Sapphire Weapon? Nope. Just says weapon. After weapon cuts a hole in the chamber wall, begins to blare as weapon approaches Junon. With the confusion created by weapon's attack. Yeah, just calls him weapon. Cubic zirconia weapon. Why did she say ding? Are the fries done? Ding the world's cook. Yeah, I need more coffee. Would you like an apple pie with that? Would you like an apple pie with that? The glory days of singing that in high school. You know what I never thought about that would actually be pretty cool? We've talked before about Rufus and how he should have gotten like a second fight sometime during or before the Midgar raid. There should have been like a final fight with Rufus because you only get the fight at the beginning of the game, and then he just falls off. And I had talked about it being a fight with him and Cloud again, because you fight him with just Cloud at the beginning of the game. So it would have been cool to have another Rufus v Cloud fight near the end of the game, where Cloud is like really strong, and it could be like a look how far you've come, look how strong you are now type of fight. Or you just fight him with the whole party, but he's like crazy strong or something. One thing I never thought about, what if you fought him here? What if like part of Barrett's escape was that he had to fight Rufus? And you had like a cool one-on-one where it was similar to the Cloud Rufus fight, but this time it was with Barrett. And it'd be kind of I don't know, there'd be some kind of interesting lore implication there of Cloud fought Rufus before, but now like Barrett is kind of reaching the pinnacle of his story, him against Shinra. I don't know. Be something cool there. Plus, this section needed like a boss because you just fight a few things and then leave. Could have had Barrett v Rufus and Tifa v Scarlet. Yeah, true. Could have been the ultimate, the real payback for Biggs, Wedge, and Jesse. And like, even though Rufus isn't the one that made that call, it could be like his comeuppance for his father's wrongdoings. Yeah, there's something there. That could have been cool. Yeah, Barrett versus Heidegger would have been cool too. Man, that would have been perfect, actually. If Tifa and Scarlet actually had a fight on top of the cannon, and then Barrett had a fight with Heidegger on his way out, and then Cloud had a fight with Rufus later, we could have actually gotten, like, the big three instead of just stupid Proud Cloud. Yeah, you know, you really don't get the feeling that Shinra didn't do anything in this game when you play through it the first time. But on multiple playthroughs, you really start to realize, like, Shinra does nothing. Shinra kind of does nothing in this game. Like, you fight Rufus once, you fight Palmer once, and that's it. You never fight Scarlet, you never fight Heidegger. You fight the Turks a couple times, but they're the Turks. You don't really get to fight the Shinra boys. Yeah, but even the scene feels like it was added last minute. Scarlet and Heidegger just being like inside of Proud Cloud, and then you beat Proud Cloud and they're like, no, it just explodes and they're gone. They don't even have like a epic monologue or anything. You don't even get like a, were we right to work with Shinra, or we're gonna live with Shinra forever, even if we die, Shinra will live on. Like nothing. It just blows up and they're just gone. After all this build up, they're just gone. Yeah, and Proud Cloud is a terrible fight as well. We're blasting off again. Yeah, I mean, there is something to be said that like Heidegger and Scarlet are just idiots and they don't even deserve their own boss fights because they're just like goons. But I mean, come on, Heidegger's like the captain of the military. You gotta have a fight with Heidegger. Heidegger fight would have been sick. If Scarlet is just gonna be a slap minigame because that's kind of her character, then fine. But we definitely should have had a Heidegger fight. And we 1000% should have had a second Rufus fight. I think everyone agrees with that. It really sucks that you get such a great setup with Rufus, where he's like, you know, that's all for now. I'll see you later, Cloud, when we're both stronger. I'm going to be the greatest president Shinra's ever seen. Cloud becomes the greatest hero ever, and then they have one big epic battle right as Shinra's collapsing. But it never happens. Yeah. Tifa and Kate Sith, or Tifa and Kate Sith, Tifa and Scarlet have a slap fight, and then Heidegger and Kate Sith have a boxing match. How amazing would that be? They got like the same build. It'd be perfect.